Since last season, the Atlanta Hawks have been looking for a third player to complement the backcourt duo of Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. DeAndre Hunter is off to a nice start this season, but there is someone else who might change how successful the Hawks are this year. And that player would be 21-year-old forward Jalen Johnson. After being a highly touted prospect in high school, Johnson played one season at Duke. He fell all the way to pick 20 for the Hawks. In his first 2 years, he wasn't getting many minutes and rode the bench. After Quinn Snyder took over midway last season over Nate McMillan, Johnson saw his playing time skyrocket. This offseason, the John Collins trade over the summer opened up a spot for Jalen to get even more minutes. Early into the season, Snyder has actually put Johnson in the starting lineup over power forward Saddiq Bey. A critical part to the team's early success so far, he's averaging 14.5 points per game and 8.3 rebounds per game while shooting a very efficient 62% from the field. His points, rebounds, field goal percentage, and three-point percentage have all taken huge leaps. Johnson has a unique skill set with great athleticism and playmaking to go along with his good size and defensive potential. Only 6 games into the season, he's already making a massive impact on the defensive end of the ball. He's in the 100th percentile for both points allowed per 100 possessions and effective field goal percentage, and he's in the 82nd percentile for turnover percentage. While Johnson is not like an elite defender, he's still a net positive to the team on that end of the ball. He can be a true difference maker for this Hawks team that's trying to recreate their magic of the 2021 playoff run. Johnson also seems to be thriving in Quinn Snyder's system, one with a heavy emphasis on aggressive defense and a newly revamped offense. With Johnson's athleticism and playmaking, he's the perfect player to play alongside playmakers Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, shooters Bogdan Bogdanovic and Saddiq Bey, and lob-happy big men Clint Capella and Onyeka Okongwu. The 5-man lineup of Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, DeAndre Hunter, Jalen Johnson, and Clint Capella is the Hawks' best 5-man lineup of the year and is a plus 11.8 in 118 possessions. And the defense is better with this lineup, ranking in the 91st percentile of effective field goal percent allowed. And this is with Trae Young included in the lineup, who has never been a positive defender in his career. The Hawks are benefiting from a forward who can create for himself and others, something they lacked in John Collins. Johnson can make a pass, create opportunities for himself, or cut to the hoop if the opportunity presents itself. His talent while on the floor will make the presence of DeJounte Murray and Trae Young much more felt and more dangerous. Now, the Hawks are 4-2 so far this season and have won games where Trae Young has shot poorly. One of their best wins of the year was a 127-110 win over the Bucks. In that game, the team showed how deep their roster is and how much potential the team has. By focusing 2 defenders on Damian Lillard, they limited the star point guard to only 6 points. The Bucks committed 23 turnovers, leading to 22 Hawks points, and the team got double-digit scoring from 8 players, which just shows how much depth they have on their roster. So far this season, Trae Young is averaging 22 points per game on 33% from the field and 28% from 3. Yet the rest of the team has picked it up and showed the team can win overall, rather than in past years where they would only win from miraculous scoring outbursts from Trae. While those percentages look very unappealing for Trae Young, he's on a cold streak and I think he'll be fine by the end of the year. With other players like Onyeka Okongwu stepping up, this team has shades of the 2021 Hawks team that made a really good run to the Eastern Conference Final. However, it all starts and ends with Jalen Johnson. The Hawks have never had such a unique forward who can contribute in so many ways on the court. If he continues this level of play, expect him to be a dark horse candidate for the Most Improved Player award. The Hawks might prove the doubters wrong and secure a top 6 seed and guarantee themselves a playoff spot. They have the potential to make it far in the playoffs. However, the East has some juggernauts with Boston and Milwaukee, but if any team has the length and roster depth to give those teams a nice challenge, it's these new-look Atlanta Hawks. I know I've mentioned it a couple of times now, but I truly like the depth on this team. When Trae Young is at his best, he's a guy who can score 26 points, hit a bunch of threes on great efficiency, while also being one of the best playmakers in the entire NBA. I think people underrate Trae Young as a point guard, and I know his rough start hasn't been helping his case either, but Trae Young is truly one of the best point guards people have been sleeping on for the past couple years. DeJounte Murray has shown how good he can be this year. Last year, there was questions about the fit alongside Trae, and we saw some early growing pains, but this year, DeJounte and Trae have looked much better together, flowing in the offense, and we've seen games where DeJounte against the T-Wolves raced a 21-point T-Wolves lead pretty much on his own, scoring 41 points, leading the Hawks to a very clutch victory. At small forward, we have the 3-and-D DeAndre Hunter, who's improved and played really well alongside Trae for the last couple years. You know what he's going to bring to the table. I really like that the Hawks have a guy like DeAndre Hunter. At power forward, Jalen Johnson. I've talked already a lot about him. And then at center, you have Clint Capella. He's your traditional center. He'll get a bunch of rebounds, he'll block some shots, play good defense. However, he hasn't really adapted to today's NBA, so that does end up hurting the Hawks sometimes, but he is a really good lob partner that Trae really works well with. Bogdan Bogdanovic is the backup shooting guard, and he's a pure scorer. He's a spark plug bench scoring option this team needs. Off the bench at the 3, you probably have AJ Griffin, who had a really good rookie season. Last season, he was getting more minutes than Jalen Johnson, but due to the emergence of Jalen Johnson and his ability to play the power forward very well, AJ Griffin is kind of taking a step back in minutes. You have Saddiq Bey off the bench, and I think Jalen Johnson and Saddiq Bey are both going to be flip-flopping whoever starts the game, but regardless of who starts, both the guys should get a bunch of minutes. Saddiq Bey is a smaller power forward, so teams like the T-Wolves and Bucks, they started Jalen because Jalen can match up against guys like Giannis or Cat, and it'll be much easier for him. But Saddiq brings a lot of good shooting. He's a guy who works hard every day. However, I'm not sure how long he's going to stay on the Hawks due to the amount of money he's demanding. Next, we have a young center who is actually a top 10 pick in the draft in 2020, Onyeka Okongwu. While he hasn't truly panned out for being the 6th pick in the draft, Onyeka Okongwu is still a very valuable NBA player. A little different build compared to Clint Capella for the center position, but I like what he brings to this Hawks team. He works hard, gets rebounds, and there have been games where Onyeka Okongwu is a guy who's the X factor and helps the Hawks win the game. Thank you guys for watching this video on why Jalen Johnson is the reason the Hawks can be very good this year. DeJounte Murray and Trae Young are two very good scorers, and they can contribute in many ways, but Jalen Johnson is the guy this team needed to take that next step forward. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe and like the video, and bye.